The K-jetronic fuel injection system provides continuous but varied amounts of fuel to the induction tract of each of the engine cylinders. The quantity of fuel is controlled by the airflow meter, which is placed in the air intake. Because each cylinder receives the precise quantity of fuel for any operating condition, higher engine efficiency is achieved. Prompt response, brisk acceleration, high power output, and low levels of noxious gases are all benefits enjoyed by the owners of vehicles which have K-jetronic fuel injection. The system was first introduced in the 1970s and has since undergone many changes. During this program, however, we will be describing the operation of the basic system. The tape is divided into sections, each describing a component within the system. Future programs will describe the additional items which have been fitted, along with fault diagnosis and testing procedures. The fuel tank. Vehicles are fitted either with a pressurized fuel tank or a normal vented tank. The pressurized tank uses a special ventilation valve fitted here in the breather system to maintain an air pressure inside the tank of 0.3 bar. The pressure is created by the natural gassing of the fuel. The valve works in the same way as the radiator cap fitted to a cooling system. Excess pressure is released to atmosphere by an internal valve lifting off its seat against spring pressure. A second valve allows air to be admitted into the tank as the fuel level and temperature falls. The lower half of the ventilation valve may include a gravity valve, which prevents fuel from spilling out of the breather pipe in the event of the vehicle turning over during an accident. This is done by a ball which moves this cone valve onto its seat, so closing the outlet. Because of this gravity valve, it is important that the ventilation valve is always fitted vertically on the vehicle. There are various types of ventilation valves, so always consult the parts microfiche when renewing one. A gauze-type filter and water separator is fitted either in the fuel tank or the external fuel line to the pump. This is additional to the main filter. The electric fuel pump. The fuel is drawn out of the tank by an electric pump. The pump requires at least 11.5 volts to operate efficiently, which it receives from the fuel pump relay. The relay is energized by the ignition system, and for safety reasons, switches the pump off as soon as the engine stops turning. Fitted here to the outlet side of the pump is a replaceable non-return valve, which prevents any fuel from flowing back into the tank. On some models, the pump is installed inside the tank. The 1985 Golf GTI uses two pumps, a small one within the tank and a second larger one outside. The accumulator. When the engine is switched off, the accumulator maintains a residual line pressure in the system. This is known as holding pressure and is essential for hot starting capability. An additional benefit is that the formation of vapor is minimized. When the engine is running, fuel is pumped into the accumulator and passes this baffle. This change of direction helps to absorb some of the noise pulses generated by the pump. Fuel now fills the chamber and forces the diaphragm back against the spring until the stop contacts the casing. The diaphragm remains in this position all the time the engine is running. When the engine is switched off, the spring now pushes the diaphragm back in the opposite direction, maintaining the holding pressure in the fuel lines. Don't forget that fuel is prevented from returning to the tank by the non-return valve in the pump. The fuel filter. The fuel filter cleans the fuel which passes through it from the accumulator. It is either situated in the engine compartment or underneath the vehicle near the accumulator. The filter consists of a fine paper element which removes any dirt before the fuel reaches the main part of the injection system. Some models include a non-return valve in the outlet union, which prevents the fuel from escaping if the fuel lines are damaged. Remember, it is important to check in the maintenance schedule when and if the filter needs replacing.